absolutely. No, thanks for coming in too. I mean, we learn from people with their boots on the ground, so that's our residents. I mean, I used to drive that road all the time, and I worked at Forest Hill, so I know it. But it's really nice to hear the perspective. So,
Roger,
thanks for coming in.
Roger, your friend, Roger? Roger.
It can be, because you know what, unfortunately,
I live right off of
looking
it.
at that the other day, I was standing behind her. I'm actually
So what do you think?
up to us, and it can be intimidating.
I really,
We tried it 11 years ago and I had a
yeah.
fit.
This looks like this is on a Julie's PowerPoint.
I think when it's a packed place, when we used to have.
Stop signs.
Right.
It's a little bit. Thank you for coming.
The Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a brief announcement about Open Podium, which we had I don't know what the word is, I was going to say vibrant, but a really positive Open Podium just this evening right before this meeting. It's an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government prior to each council meeting. Typically, council meetings are on the first and third Tuesday of each month. These open podiums occur from 6:30 to 6:55 here in the council chamber. If you wish to speak at Open Podium, please contact the city manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, phone number, and subject matter so we can be better prepared for you with staff and answers if need be. If time permits, after scheduled speakers are finished, the mayor will open the floor to unscheduled speakers. Open Podium is not recorded or televised. If you have any questions about Open Podium, please contact the city manager's office. Tonight we do have a presentation from the county on Baker Road 2021 pavement maintenance and restriping. Mr. Getchell, I'll turn it over to you to make introductions.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. We have tonight with us two members of Hennepin County virtually joining us, Emily Cattell and Chad Elios, to provide us an update on their plans for Baker Road maintenance and restriping in 2021. So I know they have a presentation that they're going to share as well, so I will turn it over to them. Emily, I see you unmuted, so you must be the first to speak.
Thank you, yes, and I'll share my screen now. All right. Good evening, Mayor Case and Eden Prairie Council members. My name is Emily Cattell. I'm a transportation planner with Hennepin County, joined here tonight by Chad Ellos, the Transportation Planning Division Manager. Thank you for the opportunity to present to the council tonight about the Baker Road pavement project. My plan tonight is to run through a brief presentation and take questions at the end. Tonight, I will be discussing a bit of background about Baker Road, including a project overview and goals, walking us through the existing conditions, the benefits of a 3-lane roadway, reviewing the results of the public feedback that we've received, and Chad will be discussing next steps. The first slide here is the project overview. This is a pavement preservation project between Martin Drive and I-494 in the cities of Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. As part of this project, we will be updating pedestrian ramps across the corridor to be compliant with current standards. Additionally, we plan to add a median at Edenvale Boulevard to better facilitate crossings across Baker Road. As with all of our pavement preservation projects, we really have an opportunity here to extend the roadway's life and improve service life and improve corridor safety and comfort for all modes. Key components in our review of the corridor include crash data, risk factors, traffic volumes, and traffic volumes, which help guide our evaluation and proposed recommendations. Our first goal with this project is to preserve the existing roadway by upgrading the pavement surface. Secondly, we strive to improve corridor safety for all modes by reviewing the crashes and risk factors to proactively make safety improvements benefiting all users. As we work toward improving safety and reducing crashes, we look to improve the reliability and comfort for all users of the roadway. Additionally, we want to ensure that we can continue to maintain good traffic operations along Baker Road. The existing conditions, for the existing conditions, I'll specifically focus on the segment where we are proposing a 3-lane cross-section between Pinnacle Drive and St. Andrew Drive. Baker Road in this location is a 4-lane undivided roadway where left and right turning vehicles share the lanes with through traffic. Within Hennepin County, we know that our 4-lane undivided roadways are our least safe roadways. Historically, the traffic volume along Baker has been very consistent at about 10,000 vehicles per day. Chad will discuss the crash data in a moment, but we've seen 22 crashes along this segment between the years of 2016 and 2019. There's a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit, and I'd additionally like to note that there's a trail along the east side and sidewalk along the west side without a buffer boulevard space between the fast-moving vehicles. Before I talk through the benefits of the 3-lane roadway, I'd just like to talk a bit about what we're looking at here. You can see my pointer, showing the before and after of a 4-lane to 3-lane conversion and understanding how a 3-lane roadway operates. So the defining feature of the 3-lane roadway is the center left turn lane. This allows left turning vehicles to move out of the lane of travel in order to complete their turning maneuver. We see that the addition of this center turn lane often actually improves the flow of traffic, since through vehicles do not need to stop in the lane or weave around a vehicle that is preparing to turn left. One of the other additional benefits of the center turn lane, you can see here in the 4-lane configuration that this double yellow line is the only thing separating vehicles traveling in opposing directions, whereas with the 3-lane, we have an entire lane separating vehicles that travel in opposing directions. And the addition of the center left turn lane is a proven crash reduction strategy. I'd also like to note that across our system, we've completed many successful 4 to 3-lane conversions and have over 36 miles of 3-lane roadways across Hennepin County roads. A couple of the benefits of the 3-lane roadway. First, this is, as I mentioned, this is a proven crash reduction strategy. 3-lane roads, they typically see a 33 to 50% reduction in crashes when compared to 4-lane undivided roadways. Additionally, a second benefit of 3-lane roadways is the enhanced comfort for people walking and biking. While there is not a dedicated bicycle facility proposed as part of this project, the flexible shoulder space that we are proposing can serve multiple functions, including increased separation distance between moving vehicles and those people walking and biking on the trail or sidewalk, as well as a place for on-road cyclists, disabled vehicles, delivery vehicles, and snow removal activities. Additionally, as part of this proposal for the 3-lane section, we would like to narrow traffic lanes to 11 feet. Studies have found that drivers go slower with narrow lanes due to a feeling of constrained space, and this leads to more predictable and consistent traffic flow across the corridor. We have heard from many residents through our feedback that speed is a key concern and believe that the 3-lane can help address this. A couple of additional benefits that I'll walk through briefly. One is we often hear a concern about traffic capacity with 3-lane roadways. Studies and local experience, our local experience have actually found that travel times decreased or stayed the same when implementing a 4-lane to 3-lane conversion. A dedicated space, as I mentioned, reduces dangerous weaving maneuvers that often happen on these 4-lane roads and minimizes rear-end crashes for people turning left. Finally, one concern that we've heard is around entering the roadway from side streets, and we found that side street traffic can more comfortably enter the roadway with fewer lanes to cross. And we have also found that wait time to enter a 3-lane roadway from side street is minimally impacted with the 3-lane configuration. In fact, during the peak hours, our studies have shown that people would wait just a few extra seconds to turn left or right onto a 3-lane roadway compared to the 4-lane roadway configuration. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Chad to talk about our crash data.
Thanks, Emily. As mentioned, 22 crashes between 2016 and 2019 on the restriped segment that we're really focusing on tonight between St. Andrew Drive and Pinnacle Drive. So a deeper review of that crash data showed that 64% of the crashes were rear-end crashes or angle crashes. Those are the ones I want to talk to you that are shown on the slide in front of you. The rear-end crashes are depicted in the upper figure on the left, and that's, as Emily mentioned, vehicles on Baker Road needing to turn left being rear-ended by a vehicle going through that intersection. So sharing that lane, that's very typical of what we see of this type of roadway configuration. So with the center turn lane, we see a reduction in those type of rear-end crashes by getting those vehicles out of the through traffic lane. Secondly, on the bottom left is the angle crash, where the side street vehicles are pulling out in front of traffic on Baker Road. Common causes for this are misjudging the speed differential of approaching vehicles in multiple lanes and vehicle shadowing, is shown in the figure in the lower left. The 3-lane section, as shown in the lower right, improved the sight line, moves the vehicle shadowing, provides more uniform speeds, approaching the intersection, and simplifies gap selection for the vehicle on the side street. So in the context of Baker Road, between Pinnacle and St. Andrew, building this section as a proven safety measure will proactively improve the safety through reducing the vehicle interactions, reduce the speed differential between vehicles traveling in the same direction, and the removal of this stopped left turning traffic in limits. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Chad. One of the additional benefits of this 3-lane cross-section is enhanced comfort for people walking and biking. As I've mentioned, currently people walking or biking along Baker Road must travel on the trail or sidewalk next to fast-moving vehicles without a buffer, as you can see in the photo below. With the addition of the flexible shoulder, there would be some additional space between the trail or sidewalk and moving vehicles, as shown in this example along County Road 101. And we've heard from several residents that they would like to feel more comfortable as they travel along Baker Road. Again, while we do not propose a dedicated bicycle facility as part of this project, the flexible shoulder space can be utilized by on-road cyclists. One key benefit of the 3-lane cross-section that I'd like to explain is the reduction of the multiple threat crash shown in this graphic here. With a 4-lane undivided roadway, a person looking to cross at this crosswalk would have to judge the gaps in traffic for 4 vehicle lanes. If car A stops to let the person cross, this red car here has limited sight distance and may not understand why this car is stopped and may weave around it, potentially colliding with the pedestrian at this location. When a person is crossing, they have to navigate this issue for vehicles traveling northbound and southbound. With the addition of the conversion to a 3-lane roadway, they would only have to cross one vehicle through lane at a time. One additional benefit is traffic calming. We've heard from many people that they'd like to see a reduction in speeding. With the 3-lane configuration, we often see a more predictable and consistent traffic flow. This eliminates the swerving and changing lanes that we see with passing vehicles on 4-lane undivided roadways. And narrower lanes typically see a slight reduction in operating speeds with the 3-lane configuration, again, providing this more consistent traffic flow and allowing people to really better judge the gaps in traffic as they travel along and across Baker Road. Some additional traffic capacity considerations. Traffic volumes along Baker Road, as I mentioned, have historically been around 10,000 vehicles per day. This is well below the congestion threshold for a 3-lane section. FHWA notes that roadways with traffic volumes below 20,000 vehicles per day are good candidates for a 3-lane section, and therefore, given the volumes that we see along Baker, we don't foresee any major impacts to the traffic capacity of Baker Road. I'll also note that we are not proposing any changes at the signalized intersections, so those will open back up with the existing turn lanes at signals. Just to reiterate, we don't foresee any major operational impacts between this segment. Next, I'll pivot to talking about the public information and outreach phase of this project. In January, we completed some public engagement and outreach with residents of Eden Prairie and Minnetonka. We mailed a postcard to over 800 residents and businesses within 500 feet of Baker Road, and those residents whose only access is off of Baker Road as well. We also sent an email to an existing listserv that we have with over 4,500 recipients. This postcard and email directed residents to a project website that we created where residents could learn a bit more about the proposed project, the research around 3-lane roadways, and contact staff directly or submit a comment form from our website. We kept, throughout this process, there was about a little over a month for people to reach out to us for sharing their comments. So what we've received, I'll note that during this time, we've received more than 150 comments, but from about 125 different residents. So if you are reviewing the council packet, the tallies might not match up exactly, just noting that certain residents submitted more than one comment, and we've also received several phone calls as well that were not included. Overall, what we found is that about 50% of the people who got in touch with us would have a preference to move forward with the project as proposed. A couple of people contacted us with questions, just wanted to better understand the project, and 56 residents here noted their stance that they do not want us to move forward with the project as proposed. Some of the key themes that we heard in these responses include the following. So of those people who would like us to move forward with the project, safety was one of the biggest benefits that we heard, and this includes reducing the potential for future crashes to occur. Residents expressed a need to improve safety and comfort for all modes traveling along and across Baker Road. As I mentioned, traffic calming and speed reduction was another key theme that we heard, and there was a lot of support for narrowing the travel lanes and converting the roadway to a 3-lane section for the purpose of reducing speeds. Finally, we heard from residents that one of the benefits that they see is simplifying turning decisions from side streets. So again, improving access to Baker Road from side streets and neighborhoods, especially because people would not need to cross so many lanes at one time. We of course heard several concerns about this project as well. The first one being increased congestion. County traffic operations engineering staff are confident that Baker Road has the capacity to handle the 3-lane section, and we envision little to no increase in delay across the corridor. Another concern that we heard is access to and from Baker Road from the side streets, but as I mentioned earlier, our data shows that wait time would stay the same or just increase by a few seconds, and that is during those peak periods when people are traveling to work in the morning or coming back from work in the evening, where we typically see a bit more congestion as people travel to and from work. Additionally, there's the concern about a reduced ability to pass other vehicles. And we recognize that passing along this stretch will no longer be permitted, but feel strongly that the safety benefits outweigh this minor inconvenience of a couple of extra seconds of travel time when stuck behind a slower moving vehicle or slowing to accommodate a resident or visitor making a turn into the neighborhood. And finally, we've heard some concerns about the need for restriping. With only 22 crashes along a proposed 3-lane section, we heard that there was no need to make a change. However, we believe that this 3-lane option has the potential to, or we know from our studies that it has the potential to reduce future crashes by 33 to 50%. With the pavement maintenance project planned for this year, we believe that now is really the optimal time to make sure that we can introduce proactive safety improvement and measures across the corridor to benefit the needs of all people and modes who travel along and across Baker Road. With that, I'll turn it over to Chad to talk about next steps.
Thanks, Emily. So based on that data, our evaluation, and the feedback received both for and against the project, we are recommending moving forward with the 4-to-3 conversion from Pinnacle Drive to St. Andrews Drive. Our decision, as Emily has mentioned and has resonated through this presentation, is highly based on prioritizing factors that advance public health, safety, and welfare, and we feel our recommendation does that. On the schedule, the pavement maintenance work is expected to be completed this construction season, so by October, pedestrian ramp upgrades are scheduled to start construction this spring. The construction project team will send out additional information to residents about the exact timing of the construction and any necessary detours when we get closer to the road construction. Next slide, please. So this is the last slide with our contact information.
Not
So
during this time, thank you though. Sorry, we were getting some comments from our audience. Continue.
Yeah, so that's just saying, this is our last slide, and we will post this presentation to our website for others to review or reference. Thank you, Mayor and council members. That concludes our presentation.
Chad and Emily, just because a couple people were requesting right now, I'm assuming the data collection, your websites are still taking comment?
Fair case, that's correct. We still have the web comment form available on our website. In fact, we received several comments since the February 16th cutoff. We just wanted to provide that as a date to give us a chance to incorporate the materials into the council packet.
So people in the audience this evening can continue to give comment. I just wanted to make sure on that.
That's correct. The website is still open for that.
So, excuse me, just say, not, Not right now, though. Thank you so much. No, we need to continue to have our conversation here, and we need to ask some questions of staff. Mr. Getchell, are there any city staff comments from our engineering department that would be relevant, or should we go right into council questions, comments?
We could answer any questions you have, but we don't have any
Okay.
comments or presentation.
Why don't I open it up to council right now, and no one has to say anything, but Councilmember Nelson, I'll start with you just because you're virtual. I don't want to miss you. Do you have any comments or questions? And we'll just kind of go up and down the line and have some conversation after that.
One question I have is, has this 3-lane been tried in residential areas before? Or is it
Councilmember Nelson, you're cutting in and out. I'm not sure why.
Oh, let me see if I can get.
Nope, still we got a problem there with sound.
This is about as loud as I can.
We're not hearing you. It's almost like it went to something inside your computer, but yeah.
What? Go to the next.
There you go.
person.
Here we
Well,
go.
you're back. She's back.
Okay. Has this been tried in residential areas before, or primarily commercial?
One of you, yeah, Emily or Chad.
Sure, I can feel that. So the first part, residential areas, I guess that, yes, we have done this in both residential and commercial areas. We have examples of that dating back 15 to 20 years. We've been doing conversions such as this. Some examples, Park in Portland and Nicolette and Richfield and Bloomington are more recent residential, but they also go by schools, some commercial, Medicine Lake Road in Golden Valley, Crystal, Douglas Drive in Crystal. Those are some that come to mind. Commerce Boulevard in Mountain, so that's a little bit more in a rural application of this. Going long north of Shoreline Drive, so we have examples of this throughout the county.
Okay. Councilmember Toomey?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Councilmember Nelson.
One of the other things I'm worried about is that the speed in the one lane is going to be, if it's 40 miles an hour, it'll be 40 miles an hour, and it may be hard for neighbors to get out onto the road. I've been contacted by a lot of neighbors against that. And I can't really see for presentation anything that tells me that it would be an advantage to the city.
Is that a statement or a question? Otherwise, I'll move on to Councilmember Toomey.
And more was a statement, but move on.
Okay. Councilmember Toomey.
Yes, thank you. I live 4/10 of a mile off of Baker, and I was here 11 years ago, not here, but I lived there 11 years ago when the county tried to do this prior. And at that time, my husband and I received notification, and this time we did not receive anything. We didn't receive an email or a letter, and I spoke to some of my neighbors who are even closer to Baker, and they didn't receive anything. I appreciate that you sent the notification out to people within 500 feet, but I would have hoped that you would do the same thing you did last time. And last time you held a meeting, like a town hall meeting with people to talk about it. I would like to see something like that happen again. What people are saying to me are overwhelmingly negative against it. I have an issue with Forest Hills Elementary turning on to Baker twice a day around 3:30 and in the morning also is going to be a nightmare for people. It's going to be backed up all the way up Holly and down the side streets, and it's getting stuck behind a bus. It's going to mean that cars are traveling slower on Baker. There's going to be more. It's going to be more congested, especially when Forest Hills is letting out and dropping off now more than ever. Parents are dropping off their kids and picking them up, but also the buses. That's another concern I have. Let's see what else. I would like to see any kind of safety studies done on similar roads that have been turned into 3 lanes from 2. if they did actually have a big reduction in crashes. But I think the main problem in that area is turning from Baker onto 62. That right-hand turn, when people turn onto 62, that's probably where a majority of the accidents are occurring, the rear ends, because you don't have to stop there, but people do, and I get it. You're turning onto a highway. If you're new, if you haven't traveled Baker a lot, then yeah, I think that that's where a majority of the accidents are happening in that area. But and you talked about in your presentation people using crosswalks. There are no crosswalks in the area that you're thinking of restriping. If you want to put crosswalks in, that would be great, and put signs up. But right now, I don't agree with changing it from 4 lanes to 2 with a turn lane.
Councilmember Narayan.
I want to remove one of my mask. Thank you, so you can hear me. First of all, I don't live close by Baker Road, so just be transparent. Secondly, this is one, I've been in the council, this is my 3rd year. I think this is one of the items that I heard the most, or we all did. Most of them are people who does not want to do the conversion. The calls I got, Roger, your friend, Williams called me yesterday, and other people called me regard to all objecting to the conversion. Just wanted to say that as a statement. Then a couple of questions I have. Today, there is around 10,000 vehicles driving through that area, that road, and Eden Prairie is growing. So that means every year that traffic will be growing more and more. So I'm thinking is when you go from 4 lane to 3 lane, that traffic congestion is going to go up tremendously. And when you do that, I'm concerned it will be more accident and of course delay through that area. So I don't know, maybe a question for you, you can write it down. So what is the projected traffic growth on that road next 5 or 10 years? Right? Because I don't think we will be changing road every few years. What's the other thing? In generally, I think we should do a little more study. We need to really understand the residents. I don't know, the way you said, Chad and Emily, sound like a done deal. If it is, we should get more feedback, because there are a lot of people not happy about this approach, and we need to understand it. And we truly, the percentage that you got 150, 4,000, 5,000 requests went out, and we got only 150. Something wrong with that survey, number-wise, I think. Out of 150, only 62 and 50, I'm from the memory I'm speaking. It is a very small amount, very small difference. So I think it really need to do more evaluation before we make the final decision. I think it's too early for us to make the decision. That's my opinion.
Councilmember Freiberg.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you, Chad and Emily, for your presentation also. Got a couple problems. You're mentioning that you had 125 responses as far as from the residents of Eden Prairie. And it's about 50-50 split for it, 50% against. I have in my hands about 300 against it right here that don't seem to be counted in your survey. It might even be more than that. I'm looking at, you did meet the requirements. You 500, what was it? 800 plus mailings went out within 500 feet of Baker, 4,579 emails, but you didn't have any type of a public meeting. You need to vent when you have this much opposition. It's not 50-50. Here it is in my hand. This is hundreds of responses against it. You need to hear what the people are saying. I understand that I'm not voting and nor telling you what to do. I'm just suggesting what you need to do, I believe, to make this go smooth. Another thing, using your figures of 10,000 vehicles a day and 22 accidents over a 4-year period, that equates to 14,600,000 vehicle trips where you have 22 accidents. And I agree that they can be quite severe looking at the angles and the rear-ending aspects of it. But I think you're getting very hasty when you hear this type of opposition with no hearing, when you have over 14 million vehicle trips and 22 accidents, to just go against what the people are saying. Thank you very much.
So thank you. Let me summarize a few thoughts here and share a few of my own as well. I do think that it's important to underscore again that this is a county roadway, that the county ultimately has the decision-making potential power here. I also think because government levels need to get along well, I think that the city perspective and the council perspectives that you heard are very valid to be listened to and important to be listened to. And just like I was speaking before this meeting, just like with the airport, sometimes we don't have power over the Metropolitan Airport Commission, but they do listen to us because they want to be good partners, and that's the same here at the county. I do want to underscore one thought as well, that it's not that I'm blinded or that I simply trust city staff, county staff, state staff. It's just that we are citizen government. Each of us has another job or another role in life that we, I was going to say play, I don't know if that's the right word, but that we have along with being a council member. And therefore, we hire staff that are the experts. It doesn't mean that they're always right in a politically influenced situation. So, and politics I find positive because it's really a reflection of the people's desires. It doesn't mean that the masses are always correct in some issue. That's where it's an interplay of weighing what's kind of in the data and the science and statistics with also what's in the anecdotal opinions, and that's why we have citizen government. But I just want to say that I do believe that county staff want the best for Eden Prairie. They want the best for the safety of all the people that live in this county, and they're trying to do what's best in this decision. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right decision in the end for us to follow or for them to follow. If it was a case of the data and the statistics showed 90% efficacy, if we were to go one way or the other, then even if it went against the opinions of the masses, I would still favor that, because I mean, I think all of us up here have the backbone and the ability to do what we believe is right, even in the face of political backlash or political opposition. I think that's what we got elected to do. That being said, I don't think this situation is a 90-10 by far. If anything, it's a 52-48 or something. I do think there's data out there that show that the 3-lane has some benefits, but I think having driven that road every day for, I don't know, over a decade of my past professional life, I get the positives and negatives to the 4-lane. I've been in that middle lane, if you want to call it that, or, you know, there's 4 lanes, but if you're on the inside lane, I guess. I've been on that lane when that has stopped, someone taking a left turn, and you're stopped. 6 or 7 cars back, and the cars on the right of you are just buzzing by. And then I move over there, and then that stops because someone's taking a right turn. So the concept of a 3-lane where it just gets the through traffic makes intuitive sense. I've driven on Old Shakopee down in Bloomington, same thing. Left turn lane, you just get stopped. I don't think the 4-lane without turn lanes is necessarily a great idea. But That being said, I'm really concerned about the residents that live along this roadway as they try to get out onto the roadway. And I know the county has some data, and again, we can be suspicious of when it was taken, hopefully pre-COVID, but I know they have data that will show that some of the left turn lanes out of Holly and Robert and Edenvale don't change much. I think Edenvale was the only one that got slightly worse according to their data. My fear with that is that right now, if you wait at Edenvale in the morning trying to take a left turn, it takes you a while. There's 6, 7, 8 cars back. But with the 3-lane, let's say it's 10 cars back, the anecdotal perception, the feeling will be, this is the fault of the 3-lane. It just gets blamed. If we kept it 4 and the left turn lanes continue to stay bad, it is what it is, right? So I do fear that the change will be negatively perceived, almost regardless. I also fear that without right turn lanes, if we could carve in right turn lanes into this 3-lane new alignment, it might make more sense. But everybody turning right will stop the 1 lane now. I have driven that road enough to know people cut over left and go sharply, and pass. And that being said, 22 accidents, 1 accident's one too many, but 22 accidents in 3 years. And Chad, I was going to ask you this. You don't have to answer in the moment, but maybe when I give you a chance in just a second. I'd like to disaggregate that data a little bit and to know out of the 22 accidents were 13 weather-related, that they would have maybe occurred anyway. Maybe the 4-lane exacerbated that, maybe not. But just 22 accidents, and then, Emily, your statistic that will reduce that by 33 to 50%. I don't know that I buy that necessarily, just because I'd like to see the data disaggregated. So my general sense, and I'm going to join 4 other council members here, I think, is that there's a little bit of gain if we went 3-lane. Safety-wise only. Now, there are some other negatives to it. I mean, besides the fact that some neighbors are not crazy about it, but there's some downsides to the 3-lane, as I've just illustrated. But in general, I don't think the gain is enough to fly in the face of the political piece of it. And I use political positively. I love politics. I think the people's voice is valid, and if we ever believe the people are wrong in something, then as elected officials we need to educate people, and that's difficult to do sometimes when people are in this polar political environment. Sometimes people have their minds already made up, but if this was a situation that it was a 90-10, then we need to vote for the 3-lane, and we really need to work on the educational piece and really educate the neighbors. But it's not, in my mind. It's like I said, 52-48. And so in this sense, I don't know that it's worth going that if we're truly perceptually upsetting the neighbors up and down that corridor. If we had traffic lights, it might be all different. But then do we want to stop Baker with 3 traffic lights? I mean, and then they don't justify it with only 10,000 cars. I mean, there's all kinds of issues here. But so I'm leaning toward recommending, if county folks, I know you're not looking for us to endorse or not, but you did come and present. We appreciate that. I think you did come wanting to hear our thoughts, and so you've heard 4 of them, and I'm going to side with the 4 other council members and say I don't think the gain here is enough to go against the perceptual and valid beliefs of all the people that live along this roadway. So if I were to recommend something to you, I would say reline it 4-lane. I will say this, reline it as it is. I will say this, that I believe it was, I think it was Al Hansen who shared that if you did go 3-lane, would you in a couple years relook it? I actually already, Al, that's a great idea if you're the one who said it. I actually did already have it written down. Not that I'm taking away from you, a great idea though. My thought would be, if you did decide to go the 3-lane, would you please run it as a pilot? Would you? Because you can reline fairly cheaply in 2 years. So if you did it 3-lane and you found that it really did not work as well, and we would come back to you really quickly with that information, I would like to think that you would reline it in a couple years and put it back to 4-lane, and that you'd stay open-minded on that. But again, I think for the gain that we would get out of it as a city, opposed to the fact that there are hundreds of neighbors up and down that live on this road. They know this road as much as anybody. I hope that, I just have to trust that they're objectively looking at it, and that they educationally know enough to make an informed decision that truly the 3 lanes not going to be that much more of an advantage. So I'm going to honor their opinions in this case and recommend that it would be relined as is, as the 4 lane. Now, I'd like to give a chance briefly if Emily or Chad want to ask any more questions or respond. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I really appreciate you all coming in, also our residents that came. But Emily or Chad, is anything else that you would like to say?
Sure. Mayor, yes, thank you and council members, thank you for your comments. That's what we are here, is to judge your reactions and to gather that feedback for as well. Just a few quick responses. One related to Emily showing the crosswalk figure. I think what applies to this corridor is crossings. Every public intersection is a pedestrian crossing, and pedestrians have their right of way, so that could occur at any intersection, which there are just short of 20 on the street stripe segment, I want to say, maybe 14, 20, somewhere in there. Mayor, you asked about the weather conditions. I do have the 22 crashes. 2 of them are reference snow. There's a couple that reference ringing. I think it's 3. Not that was a contributing factor, but that was marked on the crash report. The rest were cloudy, so the majority were on clear days and dry pavement. The one thing I'll mention with crash records is not every crash gets a crash report. There needs to be an injury or $1,000 worth of damage, so I think a lot of those sliding fender crashes that you see in the wintertime, the police usually take reports. There's insurance exchange, so there definitely are those types of crashes happening as well. And that, I guess what I can offer here, Mayor and Council, is we do need to make some decisions on this project to move it forward, as I mentioned. So we will take this feedback back to our leadership, our transportation leadership, and determine the final outcome and convey that decision back to city staff. And we can also post that information on the project website.
Great. Emily, anything final? Just don't want to cut you off.
Thank you, Mayor Case. I do not have any additional comments. I know you had mentioned some questions around the data for the crash statistics, and I'd be happy to follow up and share the resources that we use to find that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, are we ready to move on? This was meant to be just a presentation. Again, it's a county project. They are going to make the decision. Hopefully they will consider the things that they heard this evening from both our residents and our council.
Can we make any comments on them right now?
I would say write it, if you would. Send it to them, email it. Get it, email it to them if that's okay, because if I open this back up, I understand, but if I open it back up, it will become a public hearing, so, yeah. Right. You send us an email, send it a group email. We would love to hear, and we do, and we respond back. Call me, call me tomorrow. I'll absolutely chat with you. So.
Can we get your email? How do we email them?
Yeah, Mr. Ellis is our Director of Public Works for the City of Eden Prairie, and he'll meet with you out in the hallway if you wish, and he'll fill you in on anything. If you have any more questions about process and timing and when their decision might get made, he can fill you in. So.
It seems like they're going to go ahead with this project, but I like what you said, that they would reevaluate it. I
Great.
believe that they would have whether it's going to be extra.
Thank you so much. So go in the hallway and share that with Mr. Ellis, and he can take notes. And then please feel free to email us as well. And I appreciate you coming. If you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to stay as well. All right, moving on. We have approval of the agenda, and I just want to ask Council if there's any items that they wish to add to the agenda. And Councilmember Nelson, I'm watching you as well, just in case you did have something. Okay, seeing none, is there a motion then to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right, moving on. Are there any additions, corrections that anybody wants to make to either the workshop minutes or the city council minutes from February 16th? Okay, is there a motion for someone to make that would approve both of them?
I'll make a motion to approve the council minute, or the minutes for the workshop held on February 16th, 2021, and the city council meeting held Tuesday, February 16th, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Councilmember Mayor Keith.
Aye. Thank you. Consent calendar. Any items that you wish to question a little bit more about? We could pull them if you so desired. If not, I don't see any. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar A to F?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar as well.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Keith.
Aye. All right, we do have two public hearings. Well, yes, I would call them both public hearings. One's a little bit of a hybrid. But the first one is a regular public hearing. It's to approve the federal transfer through us money of the Community Development Block Grant Fund, CDBG funds. Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. This is an annual event where we get notice of our receipt of community development block grant dollars, which are funds provided from the federal government directly to the city of Eden Prairie that can be used on programs that can solely benefit those of low to moderate income in Eden Prairie. And there, as you know, council members, there is a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of reporting, a lot of monitoring. But we are pleased that we receive an annual allocation. In this case, I think it's going to be pretty close to $300,000. This is not related to the special COVID allocations of CDBG we've received. This is the regular annual amount. And we take applications from area nonprofits or those that serve people of low and moderate income. And we have a committee, mainly a staff committee, that meets to evaluate all of the applications for CDBG dollars. I am very pleased to state that the 4 applications that we received for funding from PROP for their Housing Support Services Program, for PROP for the Emergency Vehicle Repair Program, PROP for their Child Care Program, and Senior Community Services for their home program, their household and outside maintenance for the elderly, that were able to fund all of those programs at the amounts that they requested. And then, as you also know, a majority of our funds are used for our housing programs. We have a first-time home buyer program. We work with the West Hennepin County Land Trust to find affordable detached single-family homes. And we have a very popular housing rehab program for those that income qualify. A majority of the funds go to those programs, and that's something that we've had in Eden Prairie for a long time. So, Mayor and council members, the action is to hold the public hearing for the CDBG requests that came in, and then to approve the resolution recommending the use of those funds, as I mentioned, for all those programs that I just stated.
And great, before I open it up to the audience, if anyone wishes to speak, I just want to say again that these are federal dollars, so in a way they're passed through. We can't spend them on anything except what's designated. If we did not get it from the federal government, it's questionable whether we would be able to find the funds. So it definitely is federal money dedicated. And we get the amount, we get $375,000 based on the population of our cities. So federal, the act, the Congressional Act divvies this across the United States of America to counties and municipalities based on their population. So with that, I'll open this up. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council on the CDBG funding dispersal? Please come forward. and say your name and your address and organization you're with.
Good evening. I'm Janet Palmer with the Prop Food Shelf, and my address is 18766 Winfield Road in Eden Prairie. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you directly tonight, and thank you for the support the city does provide by allocating and administrating the CDBG funds for Prop for housing, car repair, and childcare. We added a couple years ago. I state the obvious that it's been a year like no other. As a essential service organization, Prop has always stayed open throughout this year to help our clientele. And it's been challenging, but we've been able to manage. The needs of some of these Eden Prairie residents are very dire. We're just on a pace to almost triple what we spend on just rent and mortgage payments this fiscal year. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without these CDBG funds. I'll share a story that really could be replicated dozens of times because it's a story that it's what we see over and over again this year. A woman I'll call Becky worked in the healthcare industry, lost her job over the summer due to COVID, and was in need for help with rent, which we were able to do. As she was looking for a job, she actually got COVID, and that delayed her search for quite a while. But in time, she did work with our employment counselor, who was able to help with their resume and the job search, and she was able to find a job here in November. Again, Prop helped a second time because of that delayed time to give her a chance to get a breather and get her first paycheck in to get her going again. So it's just a really typical scenario. She had never used Prop before, and we're seeing a lot of that. People that you would typically see come in for food, we're seeing people call for financial help as a first call to us. So it's valuable funds. Not only we use these funds to pay the landlords directly, the car maintenance people directly, and these are also people that are suffering this year. So in a sense, it's kind of a double benefit that we're doing for our for the residents of Eden Prairie. So again, I'll just want to thank you for supporting us in the past and for the partnership that the city provides Prop. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
No, just we all are so appreciative for you and of course the organization, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple more here, but we have the best nonprofits anywhere around, so we couldn't do what you do, and so we just really appreciate partnering with you, so thank you.
So appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You
much.
did a great job.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Brendelana Wolke, 7302 Lilac Lane, Victoria, Minnesota. I am the executive director with Homes Within Reach. We are a nonprofit. We work under the Community Land Trust model. So we provide affordable home ownership opportunities in western Hennepin County, including the city of Eden Prairie. Since we added our first home to our portfolio in Eden Prairie in 2005, we've added 16 homes here. With resales, we've helped 20 families achieve home ownership through this model. We serve folks at 80% AMI or below, and they are homeowners. They get traditional mortgages in the traditional mortgage market. We do not finance the home, but what we do is we come into the community and we leverage those CDBG dollars that you provide us with county and state funding and nonprofit funding that we get, so that we can not only get the home, but fix that home. So we try to target homes that are in need of repair and need to be fixed. We want to provide safe, healthy, and energy efficient homes for these homeowners to make them truly successful homeowners in your community. We appreciate the help of our community partners through these dollars, through the CDBG funding, because the reality is the hardworking folks in our communities can't afford to live here. Social workers, bus drivers, first responders oftentimes simply can't afford to live in these communities. And it's not because they don't make a decent wage. They make a fair living, but home prices have skyrocketed. In Eden Prairie, in the last 5 years, home values have gone up 23%. The median price home in Eden Prairie is $380,000, and the land value is about $151,000. So when we come in, we're buying that $290,000 to $325,000 home. We're probably putting in another $75,000 of energy improvements and safety improvements and addressing the things that are deficient in the home, and then selling it to our homeowners at a fair market rate. Over that same time, that 5-year term where values have gone up 23%, we've been able to keep our prices of our homes for our homeowners at about a 7% increase over the same time. So we really are truly trying to do the best that we can for our homeowners. Again, we truly do appreciate the support of our community partners in the city of Eden Prairie, and we know that when you give those CDBG dollars to us to help your homeowners, through your actions, you show that you support your workforce and affordable home ownership. And we truly appreciate that. And in doing so, we promise to continue to be good community partners and continue to be good stewards of the land in your community. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer.
No, just the same to you. Thank you so much for all that you
Thank
do.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you
that
very much.
Thank you.
Great job.
Welcome.
Mayor and council members, my name is John Burkow. It's nice to be here with you in person this evening. I had to put on my nice clothes for the first time in about a year, I think, but it's good to be out. For those of you who aren't familiar with the home program, we basically help older adults 60 and older with the upkeep of their homes, snow shoveling, lawn mowing, cleaning, minor repairs. We also offer free safety checks and do a lot of grab bar installation and that sort of thing. It's definitely been a challenging year, especially for older adults. As we all know, they've been disproportionately affected by the pandemic, and one of the safest places for them to be was in their homes. And our goal during this past 12 months has been to continue to serve. We had a brief pause on our indoor services when the shutdown order took place, but other than that, we've been serving continually and serving very safely throughout this time. We were very happy to get a little additional funding through the city with the CARES Act funding, and what we used that money for was to buy face masks. If you think back to last year about this time, March and April, face masks were a little hard to come by back then. Especially, a lot of people didn't want to go out, maybe if they didn't have online ordering capabilities. We actually drove around to people's homes and delivered the face mask personally to about 40 residents here in Eden Prairie. And I know I got a lot of thank yous and appreciation for that. The other thing I will say is that we've been doing a lot of phone calling, just reaching out, checking on people, seeing how they're doing, referring them to resources if that's appropriate. As you know, we have a social worker that's based out of Eden Prairie here. As you might imagine, or as you've probably experienced yourself, I mean, the pandemic has certainly been isolating. If you're an isolated individual before the pandemic hit, obviously it just got worse when the pandemic came. So we really made a point of trying to call and check on people, just see how they're doing, and they're just really happy to get a phone call. Some of them hadn't had a phone call for days maybe, so that was a really important thing that we wanted to do, something we didn't normally do, but we even recruited volunteers to help make phone calls. The other thing that we've worked on, and I just want to throw this out there for everybody to know about, is we developed a new website. It's called minnesotaceniorcenters.org. And on that website, we put a virtual programming page. And on that virtual programming page, we have free Zoom 101 classes. As all of you know, and as is happening right now, people are joining us via Zoom. If you're an older adult and you're scared of Zoom or not quite sure about it, we offer basically free classes to walk you through it. I was on a class last Friday, and one older gal was trying to figure out how to turn on the camera. And right, that's some of the hardest thing if you're not familiar with that technology, kind of know where to push the buttons, right? And she was talking with us, but we couldn't see her, and after about 5 minutes, she finally got it, and everybody gave her a hand to encourage her and tell her how great that was. So it's really great. We're going to continue to do this work. We're hoping to expand on this work in 2020 and help even more older adults with technology and connect people virtually. As you know, senior centers have been closed. They're slowly reopening, but we want to continue to offer this virtual option and enable older adults to order groceries online or do other things. So that's something we're really doing as an agency outside of this funding stream, but I just kind of want to let you guys know that we're committed to helping older adults with technology. So I want to close by saying thank you again for your partnership. You've partnered with us for many years for the extra funding that you gave us. I want to give a shout out to my new program coordinator, Gary, who's a resident of Eden Prairie. So it's been great to have him on staff now. He's got a lot of connections here in the city. And so he's really been a positive addition to our staff in the office. So thank you so much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yes.
I just have one. What was that website again for people to go to if they want free Zoom classes? Like how to use Zoom?
Yeah, mnseniorcenters.org.
mnseniorcenters.org.
And they have a virtual program page, and you'll see some of our other other senior centers on that website.
Thank you.
And we'll try to get more information out as we expand the technology service. We're hoping to get a grant through the state sometime this year, and we'd be pushing out even more marketing about that opportunity.
Thank you, John. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. All right, Council, this was a public hearing. It looks like there's no closing the public hearing in the motion, but if you would do that. So if somebody would move to close the public hearing and then read the rest of the motion.
I'll move to adopt the resolution approving the use of 2021 CDBG funds as recommended by the Eden Prairie Human Services Review Committee.
Would you close the public hearing as well? Move that. Did you do that in the beginning?
No.
No, move to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
And everything else you read.
And also move to adopt the resolution.
Got it. Is there a second?
I second that.
Roll call. Well, let me just ask the council, anything else you want to question or add a comment to, or should we just take the vote?
I just have one comment that I really appreciate the city and the support that, that through these grants that you give to the nonprofits. I think it's really important, especially now with COVID and helping. And I didn't know much about home. It sounds like a really great program, and everybody else does too, so thank you.
No, I agree. And again, it's a partnership. We just could not do everything that our nonprofits do along with us. And I am so, it's just one of those really joys when we get that opportunity to assist and help you do your work even better. And getting the extra CARES Act money this year and the extra CDBG funding was just a real fortunate blessing. So, all right. Any other comments?
Just one point.
Durant?
Yeah. Mayor Case, you already mentioned that it's a federal fund, and I just want to re-emphasize that it is a federal fund. It's not taxpayers, Eden Prairie taxpayers fund. That and we are so grateful that we're getting this and be able to help these non-profit appropriately.
Right. Totally. Okay, let's see. We had the motion, we seconded, we had comments. Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Ryan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. So our next, I'm going to hybrid it with say that it's a public hearing, but really it's more of a public comment time based on state statute. So Mr. Getchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, as council members, through workshops and planning in our capital improvement plan, we've been looking toward the police acquisition of body worn cameras. And as the mayor said, we're required to take public comment prior to finalizing the purchase and acquisition of the cameras. So Chief Weber and Lieutenant Wood are both here to provide a presentation to the council and the community on this program. And again, your only action tonight is to simply take public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. As Mr. Getchell said, we're really fulfilling a statutory requirement to allow for public comment. I will turn it over to Chris Wood. I have to give a lot of credit to the amount of work and effort that he's put into this project, along with our IT staff and finance. As you're aware, we have squad cameras, and when we purchased a new squad camera system a few years back, we did so with the intent of integrating the body-worn camera system into it as well. That was a 2022 capital improvement plan, and we're hoping to get your support to escalate or move that process up, and hoping to bring a contract back to you in the next couple weeks. We want to sharpen the pencil and make sure we're doing the best we can to get the best price. But I'll turn it over to Chris to give you a little information on what we did in the community to get feedback, and share some more information on the policy and the technology we hope to use.
Thank you. So the body camera that we're going to be looking at is...
Chris, there you go. We didn't have you on there for a second.
Is it up? Yep.
It is now.
Thank you. The body camera we're looking at is made by the company WatchGuard. It's their most current model, which was recently released. One of our main reasons for choosing this system is that our current squad cameras are also made by this company. This will allow it to work seamlessly with the current squad cameras, and will allow us to replace the microphones that the officers currently carry with a body camera, which will make it easier for officers not having to carry both at the same time. This camera also has a detachable battery for officers who work longer shifts and may have to switch out the batteries. Officers working 12-hour shifts, depending on how much they run their cameras, could run into an issue of having to recharge it, and having the ability to swap out the batteries is going to be a big advantage for them. This camera also has a natural field of view. It's about 130-degree view, and it has software embedded that will eliminate the distortion from a fisheye effect, so it will give a much clearer picture. And these cameras will be mounted on the front chest area of the officer's uniform. The data collected by the cameras will be stored in a secure cloud network. We worked with the IT division to determine that this is the best option due to the high volume of data that we're going to be collecting with these cameras. Access to the camera data is classified as private and will be limited to the people involved in the case, including law enforcement officers and citizens. And the data will be retained in accordance with Minnesota data practices. The policy was posted on the city's website for public comment from February 8th to the 21st. During that time, we received one comment. It was supportive of the cameras, and they just had some questions regarding how it would pertain to other officers from other agencies responding to our city. Our policy that we developed was based on the model policy of the League of Minnesota Cities, which is compliant with state statute, as well as our neighbors also base their policies on this League of Minnesota Cities model policy, so we will be similar to them as well. The next steps for our camera program is to purchase the cameras with the approval of the council, and then when we take delivery of them, which will hopefully be in June, we will work on the training of the officers and the record staff to hopefully have them up and running by the end of June, but this will be somewhat at the mercy of the company getting them to us in time. Do we have any questions?
I do have staff, but do you have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. How long do you keep the data for?
It really depends on what it pertains to. If it's a criminal act, I believe it's 7 years.
Yes.
Other things like that, it gets reduced. Traffic citations, things like that, is 1 year. So it really depends on the severity of what it was we were investigating.
Thanks.
Councilmember Ryan,
Thank you.
why don't you take a mask off at least one?
Is the data is encrypted while stored? So you took the video and they're storing it. Is that encrypted in the store place?
Is it encrypted?
Encrypted.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
Yes, it is encrypted in the company's cloud site and it's CJIS compliant.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else of the police presentation? Okay, so Mr. Getchell, I'm just, I should have run this by you previous here. I'm confused. I read the paragraph synopsis and it feels like the police department minimally met the requirements of the statute to receive public comment. Then the motion says to move to hold a public hearing. Are we doing that?
We're doing that, yes, Mayor. So you do both. You take public comment over that period of time as we did, and then you hold a public hearing at this meeting right now.
But this motion is kicking off it's interestingly worded. It's like kicking off the public hearing, and usually we have a motion that closes the public hearing.
Oh, yeah.
And then we do something with that. So what are we doing now?
So you would typically, Mayor, follow the regular process. That's not worded right. You would ask if anyone has any comment, and then
We're moving in to close the public hearing.
And you could make a motion to, because I don't think, as you mentioned, this is not the typical public hearing that required notice to residents. So I mean, I can defer to the city attorney, but I don't even know if you need motions at all.
I would say no. The statute just says the governing body must receive public comment at an open meeting.
So at the very least, our motion could be we simply move to receive this public comment and then we're done.
Right. I mean, it's a little semantics,
Got it.
Public hearing versus public comment, but public hearing usually comes with it some more kind of procedural requirements of notice beforehand, which the statute does not require in this case.
And then since we've already authorized for the purchase, just for the sake of the public here, what happens after tonight then?
Yes, so you've authorized us to negotiate, but you still will take action at a future meeting to actually enter into that contract. So you haven't officially made the purchase until you vote at a future meeting on that contract. And as Lieutenant Wood said, then the cameras will hopefully come and be operable within the next 60 to 90 days.
But we as a council, just for the public here, have made the decision and the motion to proceed with body cams on police officers. And now this is almost the perfunctory part of purchasing them in the contract and all. Okay.
I would say yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So this is a public comment time. Is there anyone in the audience that would wish to give public comment on this issue of police officers wearing body cameras? Please come forward, give your, step up to the mic, give your name, address.
Al
You haven't
Hansen.
moved, I guess, but go ahead.
Nope, not so far. Al Hansen, 6923 Rosemary Road. I spent a lot of time in IT, and I've had a lot of experience with data retention and things like that. I know companies come and go.
I'll keep speaking in the mic.
I'm sorry. I know companies come and go regularly, get bought out, things like that. Do you guys have any protection for your data in terms of if it moves from company A to company B to company C? How do your data retention policies compare to others? I've heard of some places, locations, I don't know if it's Minnesota or other locations, where the data is semi-public. It doesn't sound like it is here, but how are the data retention policies determined? It's just a statewide situation, or?
Yeah, so the data is, the company itself, WatchGuard, is owned by Motorola, which is a large-scale company, probably not going away anytime soon. We obviously are writing a contract with them to have some of those protections in place. And the data retention is determined by state statute.
Oh, okay. And it's, so being private, that's just a state statute, pretty much.
Correct.
Okay. All right, just curious. I didn't plan to ask a question, but I thought since I was here anyways, it's interesting.
That's a good question. I'm glad you did.
Mr. Mayor, if I could add something with that, I could just tell you that in the contract negotiations, WatchGuard will be hosting the city's data initially, but we do have a provision that at any time, if the city wishes to move the data, host itself, or use another vendor, they have to give us the data at no cost in an industry standard format. And then you're right that the data retention is based on state law.
It is interesting question just for society in general that we all have our photographs in these cloud, and of course it's not the cloud, right? It's an actual huge warehouse storage facility with all kinds of data bank, you know. And it's interesting to think that as they change hands company to company or go out of business, I mean, it's just an interesting issue 5 to 10 to 20 years down the road, not just our police data, but all data. Just never really thought exactly about that, but you know, does it get protected? Does it get sold? Does it get transferred? Okay, yeah, okay, that's offline. Give me a call sometime. Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Other comment from the public? Okay, so council, if you could reword that to move to capture to close, whatever the public comment time. Is that fine, Maggie? Okay.
Probably just move to close the public comment period is just fine.
Please, okay.
I
Somebody.
move to close the public comment period.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right, moving on to payment of claims. Council, any items that you wish to question, to learn more about? If not, is there a motion to approve the payment of claims?
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of claims as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. So the next is under ordinances. We do have a proposal to expand the Human Rights and Diversity Commission. At our interview, there was general, not a vote, but a consensus that we were in favor of that. However, tonight, if one of you at least does not wish to vote in approval of this, only the first reading would pass, and we would have to have second reading that evidently would pass if we had enough votes at the next meeting. However, we could not appoint the HRDC members this evening, so just to let you know that. So, with that, if there was any discussion, we could have it after the motion. Is there a motion to go ahead and make the motion for the first and second reading, and then we'll see how the vote goes?
I move to approve the first and second reading of ordinance amending City Code Section 2.23 Subdivision 3 relating to the membership range of the Human Rights and Diversity Commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? So, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. Okay, first and second reading passed. Now we can actually appoint all of the people that that we were going to appoint to the Human Rights and Diversity. Here's my proposal. If you look to the goldenrod sheet, this is the most accurate. And my thought is that we'll just go down the line. I'll start with Councilmember Nelson. You would do the Flying Cloud Airport, and then we would go to the HPC with Councilmember Toomey, and we'd go down the line and then repeat back. So then one person will second it. So Councilmember Nelson, would you begin the city? Oh, Mr. Getchell, do you want to say anything prior to us?
One comment, Mayor, and I don't know if Councilmember Nelson has the goldenrod. She.
What was the one change?
There's one additional person for heritage preservation. That's why you have goldenrod. So maybe just the difference is if Councilmember Nelson doesn't read, if she doesn't have the goldenrod, have somebody else read that. But every other name is the same.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Nelson.
Okay, move to appoint the Flying Cloud Airport Advisory Commission. Rakunda Ramben with the term ending March 1st, 2023. And Bob Barker, Community, and Michael Lawrence, Business Rep, with terms ending March 31st, 2024.
Councilmember Toomey.
I move to appoint to the Heritage Preservation Commission Steve Schumacher with a term ending March 31st, 2023, and Robert Bowes, George Maxwell, and Paul Thorpe with terms ending March 31st, 2024.
I move to appoint to the Human Rights and Diversity Commission Samuel Griffin, Michael Mullins, with the term ending March 31st, 2023, and Greg Leeper, Sana Elsar, Assad Adivedi, John Ubanaski, and Susan Weaver with the term ending March 31st, 2024.
I move to appoint to the Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Commission Swati Kumar and Ashley Young with terms ending March 31st, 2024.
Councilmember Nelson?
Move to appoint Ed Farr, Carol Meddy, and Robert Taylor with terms ending March 31st, 2024.
And Councilmember Toomey?
I move to appoint to the Sustainability Commission Jeff Nobleza with a term ending March 31st, 2023, and Emily Eddy, Cindy Hoffman, and Aaron Pook with terms ending March 31st, 2024.
Is there a second to all of these motions?
A second.
Okay. Just before we vote, I just want to say to people listening in the audience or streaming this later on in the week that the City Council, there's 5 of us that are citizen government. So we have these jobs, these roles outside of city government. This is very much a part-time not really a vocation, a part-time interest, a little bit more than volunteer, but very, very much so we have another part of our life. And so we depend heavily on experts that we get to apply for these commissions that can help advise us and spend time that we just don't have that amount of time to be working on. The Flying Cloud Airport Commission, Heritage Preservation, Human Rights, Diversity, Parks and Rec Planning, and Sustainability. So we so deeply appreciate our residents volunteering. If you are hearing about this and you're like, you had no idea and you'd love to be involved someday, there's a cadence where every January or so we put the word out to apply. People apply in February. We then go through an interview process. We appoint this first meeting in March, and they take office April 1st. So this is an annual, again, cadence that we go through, and we would love to have people listening involved in the years to come. And even just apply now and get your application on file, because occasionally people need to move, or they just with job obligations, they need to move on from being a commissioner, and so we need volunteers sometimes throughout the year. All right, it's been first and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey.
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. So now each of these commissions also have a chair and a vice chair that we appoint each year. And again, Councilmember Nelson, just for the sake of ease here of going through the process, if you would start.
Move to appoint Dan Norson, Chair, and Andrew Kleinfeld, Vice Chair of the Flying Cloud Airport Advisory Commission.
Councilmember Toomey?
I move to appoint Pamela Spera, Chair, and Valerie Ross, Vice Chair of the Heritage Preservation Commission.
I move to appoint Gregory Leeper, Chair, and Sahrani Misagi, Vice Chair of the Human Rights and Diversity Commission.
I move to appoint Patrice Erickson, Chair, and Cecilia Cervantes, Vice Chair of the Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Commission.
Move to appoint Andrew Piper, Chair, and Ed Farr, Vice Chair of the Planning Commission.
And I move to appoint Aaron Pook, Chair, and Prayas Sethan Kumar, Vice Chair of the Sustainability Commission.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call. If you would pull your mic down just a bit, I think for people at home, they might not be able to hear you as well.
I'm sorry.
Pull the mic down so you're speaking into it. Not your mask, your mic.
Yeah,
There you
here?
go.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Councilmember Freiberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey.
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. So we have a separate appointment process for our 2021 Board of Appeal and Equalization. This is an appeals board for people that have questions about their assessment, and we try to keep a little bit of a wall between the council. It can be appealed to the council, but we have a group of citizens that are experts in the field of real estate. So with that, Suppose we should just continue going down the line. Is that just as easy? Councilmember Nelson, go ahead. We have 5 different people to appoint.
To appoint Lyndon Marquis to Edina Realty.
And it just says he's involved in the sale of residential properties in the Southwest Metro area. Okay, Councilmember Toomey.
I move to approve Eileen Kanakis of Edina Realty is involved in the sale of residential properties in the Southwestern Metro.
I move to appoint James Lover of Bridge Realty is involved in the sales of residential property in the Southwest Metro.
I'll do this one. Move to appoint Nate Thompson of Edina Realty. He's involved in the sale of residential properties in Southwest Metro area.
I'll move to appoint Kristen Rail of Edina Realty, is involved in the sale of residential properties in the Southwest Metro.
Okay, so did I just do something wrong there? Probably, but we kind of just made that motion, right?
Yeah.
And just to say that it's for the period of March 1st, 2021 through May 31, 2021, or until the Board of Appeal and Equalization has completed its work. Thank you, nobody else, for making fun of me on that one. I just
I
wasn't
didn't know what to
looking ahead.
do.
You were so compliant, though. Yes, we do need a second.
I do the second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the council this evening, Mr. Getchell, or any council members? Okay, seeing and whoop, are we good?
Good.
Okay, if there's a motion to adjourn, I would entertain it.
I move to adjourn the city council meeting today.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. I just so wanted to gavel there. I just forgot about the roll call, so everyone was like, no. This meeting is adjourned.